So, looks like it's the end of an era.
Surely it is. And it's the only movie that, it has a grand finale. You say goodbye to a character. And it's the only movie that successfully managed to make me feel absolutely nothing.
I was not expecting you were to go with that, but I kind of get your feelings. I understand. I really do. I
I
really do.
honestly, I'm more excited for this episode than I was watching the movie. Like every time I saw Rami Malek on screen, I was like, "Oh gosh, come on, just
Wait, let's save it for the review. Do you want to begin?
sure."
Let's go. Hello, and welcome to the fifth episode of The Movie Buffs. I'm your host, Mansoor.
And I'm Yurka. Today we're here to talk about No Time to Die. Sadly, or we'll see.
Not.
We'll see.
Well, I mean, ironically,
Yeah.
No Time to Die. Well, look at the ending, buddy.
Yeah. Exactly. It does have a sad ending. Like this movie, just the ending made me appreciate Daniel Craig's portrayal of James Bond even more.
Of course.
I'll miss him. All the past five movies, even whatever you think of the movies, he was a great new version of James Bond.
He was. He was.
Yeah, and I love him as an actor, so surely he'll be missed in this role.
Of course, of course. Like I completely agree. He's one of those people who when he came in to start, a lot of people were like against it because they were like, oh yeah, sure, he matches the blonde hair. Blonde hair is okay, but he has blue eyes. James Bond does not have blue eyes. I remember when people were arguing
Yeah,
about that, like at the very start, and I honestly thought it was really
I
fucking
mean,
stupid, but
I do get the argument, like especially when you see like who Bond was portrayed before, and the audiences have like a set, um, perspective of how they see the character. So it was like a new different take, but I think he made it his own character, plus taking inspirations and some things from the past. He really was a great, almost like a perfect Bond for me.
no, truly, like I completely agree. If anything, like he's up there with one of my favorite Bonds ever. Cause thing is for me, like I love the classic Bonds, but some of them for me were a little too much. I mean, even though I enjoyed like some of the more campy ones, like the Sean Connery ones,
Yeah.
but like for me, this really felt like it was in place more towards like the Arthur Fleming books. Because the Arthur
Yeah.
Fleming books were a lot more gritty and a lot more like grounded than the actual movies and TV series itself. So yeah.
Well, unlike Daniel Craig's portrayal of James Bond, you know what wasn't perfect? No Time to Die.
Well,
So
here's the thing.
with that, I want to give my score 5.
Go. Ah, I agree. Actually, five.
Oh my god. Well, that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you for
That's
tuning
the
in.
wow. The first time we're actually right on point on the score.
Yeah. And for me, all the 5 points come essentially from Daniel Craig.
I mean, there were some aspects of the movie that I actually did enjoy and was interested in. So let
Oh, I
me.
did.
Do you mind if I go ahead? Like
Sure, go
with.
ahead.
All right. So okay, the weapon itself was very intriguing and threatening. Not the villain. The weapon. The weapon
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
Like the weapon itself overshadowed the villain, but the weapon was something powerful, and like the more you think about it, the more like terrifying it can actually be. Cause
Yeah.
like imagine if a mass weapon like that existed in our world.
Yeah.
Like how fucking terrifying would that be?
Like what when I think about it now, yeah, the weapon could have had much more interesting use in the film. I mean, the final way which the villain uses it is kind of fun too, but it's like it had much more potential.
But I mean, okay, so can I just say something? For
Sure.
me, I loved the dynamic between the new 007 and Bond because like that entire thing of like just competing for the 007 name because like technically it is just a number that is passed down to different 00 agents. Like he can't expect that number to stick to him forever because he is Bond, but like he retired from that role. They're not gonna retire the number itself. Like you get what I mean? There must have been a 007 that came before him. So
I'll get to the new 007 later. So go ahead, keep talking, and I'll get to it when I talk about the bad.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, okay, Iris. No. Like no. I'm not talking about the character. I'm talking about the dynamic between the two. Like the dynamic.
Like the character itself isn't bad in my perspective, but there is a different issue. But I'll get to that. Go ahead. Continue.
Let me guess that she's a female.
No. I don't have an issue with that. It has a link to my reason, but don't worry, I'll get to it. Or should I just say it?
Go for it.
So my issue with the new 007 is I think that the idea that they have that they're like competing for the title of 007 is a fun idea. I think the dynamic between them was solid, and I feel like she was a solid, spy badass that could have, they could do let's say a spin-off movie, they could do a spin-off show, and I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, no,
but
yeah.
My problem is that she was completely outshined by Ana de Armas's character.
Okay, I was about to get into Ana de Armas. I was about to get into Ana de Armas. First of all,
her scene was amazing. The dynamic with Daniel Craig was amazing. They got it from Knives Out, of course. But and she was much more of a badass. She had much more of a character, and she was just more intriguing. And then she suddenly just says, "I guess this is the end." I was like, "Oh God, no! Why?" I don't have the problem with a new 007, but when you try to make a strong female character that has a dynamic with Bond, and you're trying to have her be the new badass, you can't put someone like Ana de Armas' character. And it could have she just did such a great performance, but she completely she outshined the new 007.
She did.
I agree. So that is
I
my
agree.
problem.
No, and I get why
it's with
you.
It's.
Sorry, continue.
It's almost like Ana de Armas is like that scene, and her performance almost gets 1 point in my ranking because it was an awesome scene and she was an awesome character. But if they didn't include her, I feel like it would enhance the new 007.
I get it. I completely understand. But, mind you, she does have reason to be in the film. She is an important aspect of the story itself. Granted, she is considered a bit of a MacGuffin, but, she's an important MacGuffin to the film itself.
Oh, yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, I adore her. Phenomenal actress, gorgeous, wonderful, and apparently is one of the best people to work with in Hollywood, according to, every actor and director that has worked with her. And, honestly, for me, as I agree with the dynamic and everything, and I do completely agree that she outshined the new 007, I don't think that was the original intention. But, that's just the outcome of what happened. They didn't intend for her to outshine the new 007.
No, of course not. If that was their intention, it's completely stupid. But
exactly.
But now you gave me the choice of who to rather see a spin-off TV show or a film of. I'd much rather see her have her own spin-off TV show or a film than the new 007.
I get it. I really do, man.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was gonna say, I understand how it can be difficult, considering that they were really trying to hop on with the new 007 idea. And the thing is, I agree. She's a badass. She's everything. She's a good competitor, and Bond basically passes the torch to her.
Yeah.
So you get the confirmation that yes, she might if they ever do continue on, she might be the continuation, and I'm completely fine with that. But I feel they're gonna bring Ana de Armas back 100%. They're gonna have her as a sidekick or something for side missions or shit like that 100%.
Not sure if that's a good idea. If she will just outshine the new 007 again.
I mean, hey, more of her is better, to be honest. I don't mind seeing her again. I really don't. If anything, I'd go to the movie specifically to see her. To be completely honest. To be completely honest. And not for the reasons that you think. No, because like she is genuinely a phenomenal actress. She really
Yeah,
is.
she is. She is. Well, let me just get to. Otherwise, like the film is solid, the cinematography is solid. There's some like logical issues that I have, like some, you know, like ex machina moments and some just idiotic
Oh,
decisions
like
by
the
characters.
yeah. I
Like
know
like
exactly which ones you're talking about.
yeah, but the big thing I want to talk about is Rami Malek.
I know. I was about to bring that up. As an Egyptian, I am disappointed.
Now, I feel like Rami Malek, like based off what I've seen in the past few of his movies, The Little Things, and this one, these were the two bigger releases this year. He seems like a one-dimensional actor. Like when he wants to give on a great performance, he goes to Bohemian Rhapsody, and that's his portrayal of a great performance.
Thing is, he's not a one-dimensional actor, and he's not a one-dimensional performer. If you've seen some of his other like indie work, or like if you've watched Mr. Robot, like he is definitely not a one-dimensional actor. Like
Oh,
he is.
well, like he's definitely not like even in Night at the Museum, he plays a different character, and he works in that, even though it's not like like a world-breaking performance that you're like, oh my
No,
god,
not
he
at all.
played a pharaoh.
Like
But
he works with it. He works with it. But I
Yeah.
feel like thing is, I don't think the problem is Rami Malek. I feel like the problem is the writing. Like they.
Yeah, that too.
They
The writing in
nerfed
this
him.
film is shitty. It's
Yeah,
terrible, the writing in this movie.
Exactly. That's the problem. The writing is what really brought it down so much to so low. Because, like, minus the cinematography, minus Ana de Armas, minus the, competitiveness between Bond and the other 007, minus all the good that we just discussed, with, like, a couple of few more points that I want to bring up later on,
Yeah.
minus those, the film is nothing. Like, the film is literally just like any other action movie you could just throw out there. Truly. Because, like, to a great extent, it's quite predictable. Like, you predicted, like, oh, that's his daughter. Oh, all of that. Like, you kind of knew that all of that was going to happen one way or another. But, like, because of the brilliant performances, and because of how they proceeded with it, with everything else around it, they managed to pull it off well enough for it to be like
A five movie.
to be a decent swan song to Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
'Cause-
I'm.
No, what were you gonna say?
I mean, I don't think it's decent given when we had, especially considering Skyfall, Casino Royale. These two are, of course, but I even preferred Spectre. Man, like Spectre gets a lot of hate, but I preferred Spectre over this film personally.
Really? I mean, okay. Here's the thing. The problem with Spectre is that it's so convoluted. Like that's the issue with Spectre.
That's true.
Like
But-
it's not an issue of that it was a bad movie. It's just that it was so convoluted, and like it kept on throwing shit at the wall and trying to see if it would stick, to the point that it just took it to its own detriment. No, like literally to the point where, okay, I get the first quarter of the movie is really good.
Yeah.
Second quarter is fucking great. Once you get past that, it just goes downhill from there. Like once you get past the first half, it just plummets in quality.
So, I'll
And
say
it's not
I
its
even-
own fault. It's not its own fault. It's just because of like how convoluted it gets, because they were trying to find creative new ways of like trying to execute the character, when in fact they had the best weapon in their arsenal. They had Christoph Waltz as the villain. So like you can't really get better than that. You can't. You really can't. So anyways, sorry.
I
you were saying?
personally, I personally prefer Christoph Waltz over Rami Malek.
I can understand why.
I just didn't like his portrayal at all. Rami Malek. I even hated like they were at the facility, and like then the mask animation starts like playing on the TV. Once he started playing, I was like, oh my god, this is so stupid. And
Well,
like it's not even Rami Malek's performance, but the villain in general. I just didn't like him.
No,
Like,
I know. I get it. Like, it's not Rami Malek himself. Rami Malek is like, he is one of the best actors working today, truly. And
yeah, he's a
the
great
ish-
actor, but don't get me wrong. Like I still don't like him. Like even sometimes, like even a character, if it's written badly, sometimes you're like, oh, I still like the performance. I did not like the performance, and I did not like the character itself.
well, as I said,
that doesn't
like,
mean
it
I
was
don't like
just what-
Rami Malek.
No. I get it. I get it. But like again, that's just what he was given, and he just worked with what he was given. So like, you can't really blame the actor on that point. You get what I mean? Like,
I know,
do you really think anyone would have pulled that off better? Like, honestly, do you really think that there would have been any other actor to fill his shoes that would have at least pulled that off better, character-wise?
Yes, I really do feel like with what they were given, if there was, I don't have an actor in mind right now, but I do feel like there could have been a much better performance of this specifically, of the character written in this specific way.
Okay, fair enough.
That's
I mean,
just my opinion.
No. I completely understand, but like, mind you, a lot of it now leans more on the writing rather than the portrayal, because
yeah.
because the portrayal itself comes mainly from the writing. Like,
Yeah,
he wasn't given enough direction and he wasn't given enough time, so like,
yeah.
he just went with what he had and just like,
That
he said,
opening scene
"Fuck
was
it," and
so
went with it.
stupid.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but like, still,
Also,
like,
did he like not age for 20 years?
I don't understand either.
Did he like freeze in time, or like is that island like magical that he doesn't age? Did he have a plant to not age?
Probably he had like some kind of special poison that kills his age.
Yeah, and kills my brain cells.
Yeah, no wonder he was such a stupid villain. Oh god, but
There was one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and I completely forgot. I know
sure.
I wanted to talk about James Bond's actual death. Or
Okay.
no, let's first go back to this is another problem with the villains. I hated the henchmen in this movie. They were just boys. Like, compared to Daniel Craig, they were just like boys. Like almost like 20s guys who were just like kind of put on a mission. The Cyclops guy was weird. The CIA agent who went, to
Rogue.
who betrayed them. Yeah. He
yeah,
was
no,
weird too.
that
Comparing
was
to the
stupid. That was very stupid. Like, that was not a needed twist. Like, that was just created to kill off his CIA friend. Like, that's the only reason why that entire thing was written. They could have removed that completely and said, "Oh, it was a boat side accident," and that's it, and that would have not changed anything.
Yeah, but especially like, comparing it to Spectre, where you had Dave Bautista, who was like a real threat, where like he was in the scene, he didn't speak, and you're just like, oh my god, like this guy, he's a legitimate threat, like, and his acting performance was good as well. Whereas these guys, I was like, I'm not scared of this Cyclops guy who looks like a fucking, fucking assistant at Walmart, man. That's what he looks like.
No, he doesn't look like an assistant at Walmart. He looks like one of those guys who asks you if you need help at like fucking Office Depot, man.
Yeah. That's what he looked like. And the other guy, he looked like a, I don't know, like a Lynn University fucking business major student. Like, these two guys were not threats. They were just like...
That dude who turned on the CIA, he looked like a Jehovah's Witness.
Yep. Okay, and let me get to the last thing that I wanted to mention. James Bond's death. So, we saw it coming before the movie released.
Yes.
The name of the movie should have been just Time to Die. That's what they say in the movie. But they probably came with that title, and someone was like, I think that's a spoiler. Let's just put a no there, and they were like, okay, and that's what they just went with. Yeah, and so you saw it miles away. Everyone left the island. It's only James Bond. You were like, yeah, he's gonna die somehow.
No, the thing is, we know, like, okay, there are two ways they could have done it. Either he finally retires and lives out his life with Lea Seydoux and the little girl, or he dies. I mean, either or was the most obvious answer that they could give that they would have most likely gone for. But honestly, I feel like even though it was heroic, I honestly would have preferred if he retired full on. Like, if he actually lived his life happily ever after.
A lot, dude. Check this out. So, it looks like this fucking epic heroic shot where he like gives up his life. You see this beautiful sunset or sunrise, I don't know, whatever that was. And it's a very beautiful shot. He just said that the closing speech was like, I know she's got my eyes, I know. That was a bit weird, but whatever.
No, but no, I mean that was kind of like a callback to him seeing that, like asking her if that's his daughter,
Oh
and
yeah,
she's
of
like no, and
course.
he's like, oh yeah,
I
but she's got my eyes.
I know, but like the final lines of James Bond could have been better. He could have said, "I'm Bond, James Bond."
I'm Bond James Bond, dude.
It would be better.
We're
Than
doing
this,
a throwback to fucking Sean Connery here, like with fucking Doctor Gnome.
Okay, but the problem I have with that scene is it's beautiful. It's like, poetic, and then they fucking nuke James Bond right in front of you. Like, I'm surprised they didn't show his guts splitting. Like talking about like a good final death and him sending him off. They fucking blew him out in like right in front of you.
He kind of
That's
died
not-
like a bitch. He kind of died like a bitch.
That was not a respectful death. Like,
That was
they fucking
definitely
blew
not a
him
respect.
up.
They could
That
have
was my
literally,
issue.
they could have literally let him lay down and close his eyes, and then cut back to their perspective as
Yeah.
the explosions happened.
Yeah,
That would have been a lot
exactly.
more respectful. That
Yes,
would have
it
been
would.
so much more respectful, honestly.
They had to show him. They had to show his body getting fucking like the explosion going right into the
Bro,
lens.
he looked like a white ass rag doll, just like.
Yeah, exactly. Like honestly, if this was an R-rated movie, they would show his guts like going. You'd probably have a close up of his burned like brain on
Flesh. Yeah, exactly. Well, look, I don't have a problem with the rating. For me, I would have
fire.
honestly.
Me too.
No, like, I would have honestly preferred if he didn't die and he actually retired. Like, he managed to not oh my god, somehow miraculously someone jumped in to save him or something. No, like, he actually he managed to get like on a speedboat last second in like the most Bond way ever, like how Bond does, and just manages to get out, just barely missing the explosions, getting to the island with everyone thinking that he's dead, but he gets there and he's like, I'm all good. And then it just cuts to them back at that farmhouse where they're just living their life.
Yep.
Like, that
That'd be
would have been the best ending, honestly.
Yep.
That would have been so much more respectful, and it would have been able to just let everyone just get like one last good breath of that fresh air before they just, throw him away. Not throw him away, but like, just put the last stone on the grave, or like put the last drop of
They
dirt.
could
on
have
the grave.
like gave him like a permanent. They could have like permanently injured him. What if he like lost his arm or lost his leg? They could still
Yeah,
do
no,
that
exactly.
to like
They
show
could have,
like
they could have.
to like show like yeah he lost his leg, guys, he's not coming back, he's done, like 'cause,
He's
like,
out of
if
the
he
game, yeah.
retired, that happened like 3 times already in these films, so there would be like speculations maybe he's coming back, but if you like chop his leg off or something, or like blows up
Or
his
like,
arm
yeah,
up.
no, exactly. Or like the explosion made him lose one of his legs, so
Yep,
like he's
yep.
stuck with the rest of his leg, like with a what's it called? Like with a I keep on forgetting the name of it, but like you know exactly what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I just want to quickly discuss with you, what do you think is going on in the future? I'll just first say my theory. So as I was watching the movie, I was like, okay,
Go
so
ahead.
they're gonna take like a 8-year gap now between the next movie, and they'll make his daughter the new 007. No, honestly, that's what I was thinking, because there was all these talks like new female 007, and although like this new one was solid, I'm still not convinced that's the actual new 007 that they will go with. So I was like,
They could.
but then at the end, if you stuck through the credits, they say James Bond will return, which they will recast, of course. Who do you think will be the next James Bond?
Well, I mean, it could be James, it could be Jane, to be honest, because
Yep.
honestly,
But they specifically say James Bond. That's like, they don't say 007 will return. They say James Bond will return. So they will recast like they did already many times.
So
Even though
you
they
think
might
they're
be-
gonna? So you think they're gonna do another retcon?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, look, for me, can I just tell you something? Like, how I feel about the idea of, like, a male versus a female Bond, I have no problem with there being a female Bond, but for me personally,
No.
like, how I see it is that I'd rather someone write an actual good female spy than just tagging them to the name Bond. Like, you get what I
That's
mean?
what
Like-
that's what Daniel Craig said. That's
Yeah,
exactly
no,
what he
and
said in an interview. That's
I
perfect.
completely agree with him. Like, to the idea that you need to I'd rather you write a good spy movie, a good female-oriented and female-led spy movie, than to just tag him onto a James Bond. Like, I would not
No,
mind
but
that, but like, I'd prefer that so much more. I
yeah.
prefer that
Well,
so much more.
they do say James Bond will return, so I do believe that he will return. Who is your pick? Come on, don't keep him don't keep him waiting.
Honestly, I think an amazing pick would be Idris Elba.
Idris Elba. He actually just said that he won't be it, so a different pick.
No, but honestly, like, if I had to pick or choose, I'd say Idris Elba, because he
Okay.
fits.
That's
he
actually a
fits
very
it.
solid pick.
No. The suave, the Englishman,
Yep.
the strength, the vitality, the aggression. He fits it, like, and he suits the suave gentleman so fucking perfectly.
Okay.
So like,
my
yeah.
I have one top pick that I don't think you can beat because that man was born to play James Bond, and I have a second backup pick.
Shoot.
Can you guess? Can you guess who was born to play James Bond?
Just say it, man.
Henry Cavill. Easy pick. That man is a perfect interpretation of James Bond, of what he should look like according to, like, the historical, dark hair, dark eyes.
Yeah, but blue. No, he has blue eyes, dude.
Oh, really? Does he? Okay, my bad, my fault. But he played a spy in
And Mission
Uncle,
Impossible. Yeah.
and Mission Impossible 2. Like, he's a great spy. He can be a gentleman. He looks the part. I feel like he would be the perfect Bond. My backup pick would be Tom Hiddleston. I feel like he could do a very cool gentleman. He could do some good one-liners. So these are my two picks.
I agree more with Henry Cavill. I can see the appeal of Tom Hiddleston, but I feel like Tom Hiddleston has been too far pegged into, like, Loki the villain. So, like, it'd be very hard to pull him out of that and into, like, a Bond role. I understand the appeal completely, and I completely agree with you, but again, you gotta go with the idea of producers, like how a producer or the audience thinks. So, like, I'd say they'd hesitate more towards that, but they'd lean way more towards Henry Cavill. And I agree with Henry Cavill being a good pick. Like, a really fucking good pick.
I just forgot the actor's name. The guy in Eternals, the guy who plays Icarus in Eternals, he was also, like, a name that was mentioned, and I thought that would be a good pick too.
Him?
Yeah.
I mean, interesting pick. I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't seen enough of him to actually, like, catch on why they'd pick him for that specific role. Like, I need to understand his vibe more.
Yeah.
Because,
Of course, dude.
but yeah, no, Henry Cavill, I completely agree, but I would have loved Idris Elba. I would have loved Idris Elba.
Yeah, I think he would be great as well. But sadly, he said he won't be the new James Bond.
What a shame. Truly. What
It
a
is a shame. But doesn't mean, like, we got a lot of Idris Elba to come. Like, there's actually going to be a new Netflix film with him coming really soon. He's going to be in the new Sonic film. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a new Suicide Squad film too, down the line. So
Obviously.
We'll have a lot more Idris Elba to watch. Don't worry.
I love him. Like, I
Yeah,
know, like, I
me too.
actually adore him as a person and as an actor. Like, he's a phenomenal guy. He really is. But
I think this sums up, No Time to Die perfectly. We rather talk about Idris Elba than the film.
we'd rather talk about... No, the thing is, we'd rather joke about the villain, talk more about Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas, and talk about the next Bond than the actual film itself. Wow.
I feel like it's like when you put on, when someone wants to just binge all the Bond movies, you just watch Casino Royale, you're like, oh my god, that's a good film. Then you take a long, walk and bathroom break during Quantum of Solace. You come back, watch Skyfall. Then, during the beginning of Spectre, you still pay attention, and then you slowly fall asleep during the end of Spectre and No Time to Die.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
Sounds exactly about right, but...
Well, anyway, this was a fun episode. I feel
it was.
We talked about everything.
And it's the only time we've actually were dead on our scores and pretty, like, 99% close on, like, our ideas and opinions, pretty much. Wow. Very rare. uh,
Yeah. Well, anyway, this was a fun episode, man. So next up will be Dune, sometime this or next week. And it was fun. You want to end it, Mans?
Yeah, well, of course, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or recommendations, leave a comment below, leave a like, and subscribe. And, of course, for next week coming up, or actually maybe even this week, we might be dropping an episode on Dune. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, we have our very, very, very special episode of Squid Game that we are still planning on doing 100%. And then after that, on Halloween, we got our Halloween special. So
Awesome.
hope to see y'all then. And have a good one. Peace.
See ya.